What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Fight Field channel where we speak the truth, we honest, and we give our takes on professional wrestling. It is Monday night, February 17th, 2025, and this is your Monday Night Raw review here on the Big Fight Field channel. Um, I didn't enjoy it as much as last week. I do have some criticisms for this show, but overall, another good show. Another good show. I thought tonight was a very good show. Um, I feel like while we're on the road to WrestleMania, as you see it back there, when I'm watching Raw compared to SmackDown, I can get an idea of what directions we're going into. Like, I see that we could be going in a direction of AJ Styles and Braun Breaker. I could be seeing that we're going in the direction of the New Day versus Rey Mysterio and another partner at WrestleMania. I might not be a fan of that, but that's a direction. Um, Naomi against Jade Cargill. So when I'm watching Raw, I'm kind of puzzling the pieces together of what could be happening on that show behind me. While as I'm watching SmackDown, and I'm like, I don't know who's doing what, who's got good direction going into WrestleMania. SmackDown's just not as better as Raw is right now, and clearly, yes, it's clear that Raw and SmackDown, they're two totally separate shows. They're two totally different shows, is what I meant to say. And Raw's actually good. Raw's actually really good right now. SmackDown's on the struggle. So we got a really good show tonight. Very good show. From Charlotte, we'll talk about the opening segment as you see in the title. We also have two final qualifying matches and a Gunther segment that I quite loved on this show. But before we do that, hope you guys are doing well. I feel like I'm making a full recovery. I'm sniffing a little bit still, but not as much. But I feel like I'm making a full recovery from my sickness. I was sick for 3 days last week. Started to feel better on Friday, and throughout the weekend, it got much, much better. So, not there yet, but we're getting there. And then a couple promotions, advertisements. Um, if you haven't already, be sure to go ahead and check out the very long podcast I did yesterday talking AEW Grand Slam and NXT Vengeance Day. Can you believe that a lot of people are saying the biggest negative on the Grand Slam show was the size of the fucking ring? Grow up. Go outside. Touch grass. Get a hobby. Get a job. Go to the gym. Be with your family. Instead of going on social media and arguing about the size of a wrestling ring. Who cares? Who cares? It's a ring. They had great matches in the ring. My God, I couldn't believe what I was reading yesterday. But go ahead and check out that very long podcast that I put out yesterday. And also, this is sort of an announcement. I mean, I guess it is. It's not sort of. It is an announcement, and it's that I'll be at SmackDown in a couple weeks. So, um, right after the Elimination Chamber, March 7th, I'll be attending SmackDown in Philly. I just got my tickets last week, and We got good seats for the show, and I will be vlogging. Yes, I'll be vlogging at SmackDown in a couple weeks, so that should be fun. That should be pretty exciting. That should be a good show, hopefully. It's a SmackDown after the Elimination Chamber, so we'll see what's in store on that night. Okay, let's get into this Raw show. Sami Zayn opened up the show after they recapped previous promos from Zayn and Kevin Owens. Zayn was like, cleared or not, we shall do this again. Owens was like, this is from Friday, by the way. Owens was like, if we're going to do this again, we need to do it where it all started in Canada. So, the crowd gave Sami a warm welcome. Sami says, thank you, Charlotte, North Carolina. I really needed that. It's been a tough 2 weeks since I got pile driven on my neck. And since I got pile driven on my neck, I've been questioning why Kevin Owens did what we did. But I kind of figured it out over the weekend. And we're just destined to be together for our entire career. And he said, there's never been two wrestlers who have been linked up to each other for their entire career, from PWG to the Indies to NXT to the main roster to facing each other at WrestleMania to winning the tag team titles in the main event of WrestleMania. And now this. He says this is by far the most personal. It's the most personal it's ever gotten between me and Kevin Owens. I was there to help him, and he was selfish to think that I was going to push Cody Rhodes off the ladder or something to help him win a match. And he says, I see our friendship more than a championship, and Kevin clearly doesn't. And he says, cleared or not, he says, Kevin, you said on Friday that you'll be in Toronto. I'll be in Toronto too, and I'll be looking for a fight. And then this brings out Adam Pearce. And he gets booed heavily because he says, Sami, we've talked about it a bunch of times. He said, you want it, Kevin wants it, the fans want it, and heck, even a small part of me wants it. But for your long-term health, I can't give you this match against Kevin Owens. So it's kind of like the Javon Evans, Ethan Page story, but it's got similarities to it, but it's pretty different as well. Sami is like, Adam, you know me very well. You know Kevin Owens very well. We are destined to do this forever. And he says, I'm not leaving this ring until you give me what I want. And Adam Pearce asks what Sami Zayn wants. And I'm like, this idiot didn't just hear that he wanted a match. So Sami says, I want a match, damn it. And Sami walks to meet Adam Pearce up on the stage. And he says, I'm not leaving until I get what I want. And Pearce says, you know what? He says, be careful what you wish for. You're not cleared. But Sami, this one is not on me. He says, you have to take care of yourself. He says, if Kevin Owens hits you over the head with a steel chair, destroys you in the concourse, or drops you on your head with a package pile driver, it's not on me. But Sami says, yeah, but if I destroy Kevin Owens in the concourse If I hit a steel chair over his head, if I drop him on his head, that's not on you. That's on Kevin Owens. And Adam Pearce goes, at Elimination Chamber in Toronto, it will be Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. And it's not official, it's unsanctioned. So it's going to be an unsanctioned match between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And maybe this is the main event. I wouldn't be upset at all if this match main evented the Elimination Chamber. Because at the end of the day, it is called unsanctioned. And usually in pro wrestling, whether it's a lights out match in AEW or an unsanctioned match in WWE, those matches usually go on last because it's going to be the most violent and it's not on the company's hands. So maybe, well, in storyline, it's not on the company's hands, but maybe this main event's the Elimination Chamber. I certainly wouldn't be upset about that at all. So we'll see. I thought this was a good opening, and I wanted them somehow to push this to WrestleMania, but with them doing this unsanctioned match, this is pretty much confirming that we're going to get the return of Randy Orton at Elimination Chamber or right after the Elimination Chamber. And it's going to be Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. And what Sami Zayn does at WrestleMania, I have no clue. Because it looks like it's going to be Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at Elimination Chamber, and that's it. So, I thought this was good. I just wish this was happening at WrestleMania, but hey, I'm not going to complain that much. We had Dominic Mysterio versus AJ Styles. I thought the match was solid. AJ was hot in the beginning, and then it cooled off, and Dominic got in the offense. Carlito tried to get a distraction a couple times, but as he was going to get thrown out, AJ Styles jumps over the top rope to the outside to give him a phenomenal forearm. He comes in, Dominic rolls him up, but he kicked out. AJ gave him a Pele kick. Styles clash, and AJ Styles pinned Dominic Mysterio, which was a fine match. Nothing crazy about it. People were talking about the post match more than the actual match itself here. So AJ celebrating, and right behind him is Braun Breaker going in to spear AJ Styles. AJ turns around, Braun runs at him and spears Dominic instead. And Braun is furious. He gets Pele kicked by AJ. He's on the outside. He rips his shirt. He throws it in the ring. And he doesn't even look at him, does AJ. And AJ Styles just catches Braun Breaker's shirt. That was awesome. So, we got ourselves a tease of AJ Styles against Braun Breaker. I hope that's not blown off at Elimination Chamber. I hope they do that match at WrestleMania. That is a WrestleMania worthy match. And we don't need all these multi-man matches for the Intercontinental Championship or for the United States Championship. I feel like every year it's either the IC title or the US title. That's a 3-way or a 4-way. Tag team titles, 3-way, 4-way, a huge ladder match. You could have one of them. You could have like one multi-match. But I feel like with Triple H's booking of WrestleMania, we get one multi-match on night one, and we get another multi-man match on night two. So, I don't know. I might be... Who am I? But I think the direction of AJ and Braun Breaker, I'm a fan of. So if that's the match at WrestleMania, if AJ's Braun Breaker's opponent at WrestleMania, I dig. I dig. We had Ivy Nile against Dakota Kai, and they've spent weeks and weeks and weeks with Ivy doing segments with Lyra, telling her that she's coming after her championship, tossing her over the top rope at the Royal Rumble, just to get to this match tonight and lose clean to Dakota Kai. So we spent weeks and weeks teasing Ivy Nile against Lyra Valkyria just to go a different direction and do Dakota Kai instead, which, I mean, I don't care about Ivy Nile against Lyra because that IC title is so ice cold right now. It just started to. Just got here, and the title's already ice cold. They have no challengers outside of Dakota and Ivy Nile for that IC championship. So, quite frankly, who cares about any of this? Why should I? Again, I talked about it last week. I talked about it on Friday. I'll talk about it again here. There's no challengers for either title. Chelsea's feuding with Mi Chin, who has now gone on social in interviews and say that she feels like she's having a hard time connecting with the audience. No shit. She's clearly not over. They have no challengers on Raw for Lyra Valkyria. So, I understand that they wanted more women to get opportunities, but we're doing nothing with the mid-card titles. We're doing absolutely nothing with them. So, I don't know, man. Dakota wins. They spent a month building Ivy up as the next challenger just to give it to Dakota. I don't know, dude. Who can possibly care about this? I sure as hell don't. So, that's probably my biggest criticism on this show. On Raw and SmackDown right now is the women's mid-card titles. We go to Gunther in the concourse with the crowd, mocking Jey Uso's entrance. He goes out to the fans. He starts raising up his arms, mocking Jey Uso. And this, when Gunther is on, and he's an absolute asshole, he's awesome. And for all the people who say, oh, Gunther has no character, he just puts on great matches. Oh, Gunther has no charisma. Gunther has no mic skills. You couldn't be any wrong at all. And this segment proved it to you. So, people boo Gunther. And he says, I know why you all dance with Jey Uso. And it's because you're all simple-minded. And Jey Uso is simple-minded as well. 2 weeks ago, I tried to talk sense into him. And last week, I tried to beat sense into him. but he is just simple minded. And he clearly doesn't understand what he's getting himself into. So, Gunther is just being an absolute asshole in this segment. He says, I'm not simple minded. When I come out to that ring, I try to put on the best performance because I know I am the best in the world right now. He says, me performing for you is like reading Shakespeare to a dog. He says he mocks a fan standing next to him, a little kid, saying, you better get out of the way before something happens to you. He mocks the fans about how bad they stink. I mean, of course, it's wrestling fans. Half these people probably don't put deodorant on and brush their teeth before they attend the show. So he says, let's be realistic here. You people, you're so behind Jey Uso. You've gotten in his mind, that he can beat me. And he says, I'm not even going to waste my time with you guys. I'm going to ask professionals. So he goes to Cole. He goes to McAfee. And he's like, do you guys think I have a chance? Or do you guys think Jey Uso has a chance to beat me? And once he says that, he has this huge smirk on his face. So he throws the microphone at McAfee, because McAfee says something to Cole without talking in the microphone. And McAfee says, well, anything can happen in the WWE. And he says, at WrestleMania, we could be yeeting out all over ourselves, and Jey Uso could be the new World Heavyweight Champion. So Gunther's furious, and I would have paid money. I'm telling you, paid money to see Gunther chop the shit out of Pat McAfee. That was not good. That was better. I would have paid money to see Gunther chop the shit out of Pat McAfee. So he takes off his jacket. He tries to get in McAfee's face. And out comes Jey Uso. He's got 3 referees holding him back. He escapes. Him and Gunther brawl. And he tries to do a suicide dive onto Gunther. But Gunther escapes. And that was the end of the segment. Jey Uso starts doing the hand gesture with the crowd while his theme music's playing. I very much enjoy this segment. I thought this was really good because of Gunther. When he's on, Gunther, and he's an asshole, he's awesome. He's one of the best in the WWE, and the guy just gets it. He naturally gets it, and that's what I love so much about Gunther. He's playing it's early, but he's playing a good role as the villain to Jey Uso's story. So, I thought this was very good. I enjoyed it. We had Penta versus Pete Dunne. Match 2 between these guys. And they had a good match. Kaiser was out there a lot. distracting Dunn, distracting Penta. But at the end, he was distracting Pete Dunne, and Dunn was like, "Get out of my business." And of course, this idiot ref gets distracted by Kaiser. So Penta sees this. He throws Pete Dunne at Kaiser, hits the Penta driver onto Pete Dunne, and he beats Pete Dunne in a good match. So I like what we're doing with Penta. I just I'll talk a little bit more about him later, but more of this. More of these matches, these these really good matches with guys like Kaiser and guys like Chad Gable. He had a good match tonight. Just get him out there in front of that crowd and put on a good match. That's all we need right now from Penta. And wins. And wins. This Roxanne Perez Raquel Rodriguez match. I could sit here and say I wish um, that Roxanne's match was good. I did not enjoy this match. It was very sloppy at points, and I think it's time to say this. I think Raquel Rodriguez is worse than Nia Jax. I think Nia Jax is a better wrestler than Raquel Rodriguez. She wrestles so slow, and Nia's actually gotten better. To her credit, she's not great. She's all right. She's better than Raquel Rodriguez. I just don't enjoy watching Raquel Rodriguez wrestle. She moves so slow. She is so clumsy. She's not good. And she's gotten worse. So I wish they had a better opponent for Roxanne Perez. But hey, she won. And that's all we needed. And I kind of figured that we would get the finish that we got because Bianca and Naomi said they were coming to Raw. I don't know who could possibly care about this Jade Cargill storyline. I certainly don't. But let me try to find my notes. So Raquel hits her second rope spinning move, and she hits the elbow, and Bianca's music hits as Liv Morgan's sitting right there, and then she gets trapped by Naomi, so they both take out Liv, and Raquel sees this, and Roxanne hits the pop rocks. 1, 2, 3. Roxanne Perez, she's going to Elimination Chamber. So your women's field is set. We have Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, Bianca Belair, Bayley, Naomi, and Roxanne Perez. So I think next week's match too is going to have a huge impact on the Elimination Chamber. As we know, now, next week, Bianca and Naomi are defending the women's tag titles against Liv and Raquel. Again, I don't know who can give a shit about the Jade Cargill storyline right now, but we're getting a match out of it next week. So I'm going to guess that Liv and Raquel are going to win the tag team titles next week. They will beat Bianca and Naomi and win the tag team titles. And this frees Bianca up. She's not in the. She doesn't have a tag team title, and Bianca will win the Elimination Chamber. If Bianca and Naomi win, then Liv Morgan will win the Elimination Chamber. Because your only two options of winning is either Bianca Belair or Liv Morgan. The other women don't really have a chance. Maybe Roxanne as a surprise, but realistically, the winner's either going to be Bianca or Liv Morgan. We had the New Day, and they've been feuding with the LWO for, I feel like, forever now. They put a microphone in Dragon Lee's hands this week, which I think this is the first time I've heard him speak on the main roster. I've heard him cut promos before in NXT, but I think on the main roster, this is the first time they put a microphone in this man's hands. So, I don't know, dude. I just didn't care about this segment tonight. They wrote Rey Mysterio off television, and this is where I think Penta comes into play at WrestleMania. It sucks. It's unfortunate. I kind of wish they had something better for him. But I think their direction for WrestleMania is Rey Mysterio and Penta against the New Day. So, I hope I'm wrong, but this thing's probably dragging out to WrestleMania with a tag team match closing this feud at WrestleMania. And then we had the main event, Seth Rollins and Finn Balor in the men's qualifying match for the Elimination Chamber. They never have bad matches with each other. Never. So we had a really good main event tonight. I enjoyed this match. I thought this was probably the best match on the show. I'm not going to say best thing because I thought that was Gunther and Jey Uso. Or Gunther at least. I thought this match was really good though. Outside of the botched kick out by Finn Balor. So we'll talk about this, and then we'll talk about the end of the match. So, Seth Rollins, he hits a pedigree. It was a sloppy looking pedigree too. He let go of Balor, and he hits the mat before Balor does. So the pedigree does not look good. And then the referee, Ron Zerata, he goes 1, 2, and he stops his hand at the mat, and Finn Balor just kicks out. So this crowd's booing. They're furious. They're chanting, "Ref, you suck." So this wasn't the referee's fault. This was Finn Balor's fault for not kicking out in time. But this was not as bad as Money in the Bank 7 months ago. Do you guys remember Seth Rollins versus Damian Priest at Money in the Bank and how awful that match was? That was an awful match. Seth Rollins hits the suplex, he hits the Falcon Arrow, and it's the same referee. He counts 1, he counts 2, and at that point, this wasn't a botch from Damian Priest, because at this point, Drew McIntyre's music was supposed to hit. The referee was going to be distracted by Drew McIntyre because Drew McIntyre was coming down to cash in his briefcase. So the referee stood there like an idiot and was like, and then Drew McIntyre's music hits. So what happened tonight was not good, but it wasn't as bad as what happened at Money in the Bank. So, but outside of that, this match was really good. We'll get to the ending here. Finn Balor, he's already hit one coup de grace in this match, and Seth Rollins kicked out of it. So now he's going for a second one, and Seth goes, oh no, I'm sorry. Seth goes to the top rope, and instead of I guess he was supposed to get hung up, but he didn't get hung up. Finn Balor just punched him, and he was like hanging up on the ropes a little bit, but he fell. So Balor hits the coup de grace, and Seth kicked out, and Balor immediately put him in the crossface, and he's in it for a little bit, but he escapes, hits the stomp on Balor and Seth Rollins. He pins Finn Balor, and he's the last man in the Elimination Chamber match. So that was quite the sequence to end that match, which again I thought was really good. And your men's chamber match is now set with John Cena, CM Punk, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, and Seth Rollins. So you have a lot of ties in that Elimination Chamber match, which is going to make it very unique. So it's way better than last year's, and I'm quite excited. I'm quite excited about this year's Elimination Chamber match. So that was Raw for you. No CM Punk at the end to interrupt Seth. No CM Punk on this show. But that was Raw. Again, I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it as much as I did last week, but I thought it was a very good show. So that's all I got for you tonight. We have Raw, the go-home show, next week, and so far advertised, Lyra Valkyria defends the Women's Intercontinental Championship against Dakota Kai. And for the Women's Tag Team titles, we have Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez challenging Bianca Belair and Naomi. So that's all they have advertised so far for next week, and I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the Big Fight Fuel channel. Again, I will be at SmackDown in 3 weeks, 2 weeks. I don't know what it is. I'll be vlogging at SmackDown, though, in a couple weeks. So that should be fun. It's a SmackDown after the Elimination Chamber. So hopefully there's some big stuff lined up for that show. Comment down below your thoughts on tonight's Monday Night Raw. Hit the like button if you like what you heard from me. Follow me on Twitter at Colin_Joseph. And I'll see you guys Wednesday night here on the Big Fight Fuel channel for AEW Dynamite. I'm out of here. Have a good night. Stay safe. And as always, stay classy and love wrestling. Peace.